Today we're going to talk about a really important topic, which is stress, but we're going to approach it from a very different point of view. Usually people think about stress as a bad thing, try to get rid of it. But today I'm going to talk about how to turn your bad stress into good stress so that you can have peak performance when you need it, and you can have rest and relaxation when you need it. My name's Natalie Baker. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and certified neurofeedback trainer. All of us experience stress. It's a part of our brain. It's part of that survival brain. The whole point of stress is that when that limbic brain, which is not the part of the brain we control, perceives the situation as dangerous, and danger is defined by something is going to cause me serious physical harm in less than a minute. So then I need to employ punching, running, playing dead in order to momentarily protect myself so that I can then come back into a state of openness, relaxation, a resting heart rate that's lower, breathing deeper, able to be open and playful with our minds. And so this is a very important function in our bodies. It's been there forever. It's not going away. Okay, so now what do we do? Because we usually think of stress as being a bad thing. And what is defined as bad is when that brain goes into the habitual pattern of recreating the stress response when we're not in danger. And so being social animals, we perceive social threats as body threats. And so there's a situation where we are going to go into a stress response if we perceive a social situation as not in our favor. We can get sweaty palms, we can have racing thoughts, we can stop breathing, we can feel ill in our stomachs, we can ruminate about how that friend doesn't like us anymore. And why that's bad stress is because it becomes a habitual pattern that our brain automatically goes into. We call it chronic stress. What we want is to turn that chronic stress into acute stress. So the brain is a dynamic system. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know about my fancy graph here. So here's when the brain is regulated. It's perceiving the environment as safe. That is when we sleep well. Our thoughts can be creative. We don't have mental ruminations. We don't see the world as a threat. We can connect with others. We can slow down. We're calmer. We're not irritable. That's when we're in that state of regulation. We can focus and plan and work things through cognitively. We have good executive functioning. That's that state of regulation. So that's when the limbic brain is going, oh, the environment is safe. There's nothing that is about to cause me bodily harm. So then what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to have acute moments of going up into that fight-flight energy. That's when we rev up, we produce stress hormones to attack the problem, and then we resolve it and we come down into that state of regulation. Or our brain decides, oh, we're going to just be really quiet. We're going to go into that hypoarousal, which is that freeze response. We're going to get quiet, still. We kind of stop thinking. Sometimes we'll even sort of dissociate a little bit. And then we're supposed to come back up into this. And we're supposed to dynamically move through this, but really live in this zone. So chronic stress is when we live here, or we flip-flop between here, and we just barely live in this zone, right? Acute stress is when we have a school performance and we know, oh, this is a good thing, but my stomach has butterflies, right? So we go up into the hyperarousal, that fight flight. The event happens, we perform, and then the body goes, and relaxes again. And so that is when we have the stress turn into sort of a good event, because The research shows if your body rouses itself in a stress response, attacks the issue or resolves the issue and then comes back into that state of regulation, it's actually functioning better. So it's not that we want to get rid of stress. That's impossible. We want to get rid of chronic habitual stress. And so a couple of things that we can do to help ourselves take that chronic stress and turn it into acute stress. And that is to tell ourselves nothing that's happening in our present moment is causing us bodily harm. So we can have this arousal of a little anxious feeling or being kind of short of breath or anticipating or not sleeping well, but then we can come back into a state of being calm, being open, that we can move between these two. And our mind telling ourselves, oh no, this is a positive thing. I'm getting anxious, but it's for a good reason. I'm about to do this presentation, or I'm not sure how X event is going to go. This is a positive thing. So if you literally tell yourself that the feelings that you're having that we call stress and bad are actually positive events, it helps that brain to come back down into that state of regulation. There are other things that we use all the time that help take that chronic stress and turn it into acute stress, which is we exercise, right? We purposefully get our heart rate going up high. That's a positive stressor. And then what happens is that the brain comes back down into that regulation. After we exercise, we can breathe more deeply. Our minds are calmer. We're not racing so much in our thoughts. That's how we take that chronic stress, turn it into a peak acute stress, and then we come back into a state of regulation. So lastly, another tool that we can use that's more literally a tool is neurofeedback. And the whole point of neurofeedback is to train the brain to register the present moment so that it can see, oh, I'm going into a stress response, but my environment is safe. Oh, so this is one of those acute stress moments. So then I'm going to come back into that state of regulation. So neurofeedback measures brain waves to show the brain when it's going into state changes, but it also cues it to pay attention to the present moment so that it can see this is not a chronically dangerous situation. So I can come back into regulation. Then I use my energy efficiently, and then I'm more effective in my decision making. So when we find that we're using our good tools, such as exercise, if we're having a hard time getting that good sleep, even though we're trying to, if we're eating a healthy diet, we're hanging out with good friends, but we still find that chronic stress is there, that's when I encourage people to add the neurofeedback as brain training to really communicate with that limbic brain, because it's hard to tell that limbic brain to down-regulate out of that sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic, which is in that rest and relaxed state. So please subscribe, because I'm always posting new educational videos, and reach out if you have any questions.